So a lot of people are tier listing the power of each sinner. Now, when it comes to me personally, I can't do that. The reason being, I have literally zero brain cell activity whilst playing this game. The brain activity I have whilst playing is the same as Bill Cosby's victims. I cannot believe I'm 4 lines into writing this and I already wrote some dumb shit. Wow, where did I go wrong in my life? Look, all I'm saying is there's a reason I want my team to go beluga, because your boy can't properly play this game. But see, what I can do is shitpost, so with that being said, here's the tier list on how crazy each sinner is. Now we're gonna start off with the song, and quite honestly, this shouldn't take long. I've heard that trying to prove insanity in a court of law is apparently incredibly difficult, but if we imagine for a second that Ye's song is on trial, it would only take the first sentence this bitch speaks to prove it. Deadass, he waffles on like a failed Shakespeare. The worst part is that he isn't that one quiet, slightly homicidal kid in the back of the classroom. He chooses to speak whenever he wants to, which is unfortunately more than once, which to me is too much. Imagine this, right? You're chilling on a beach, nice and quiet, just relaxing, then this motherfucker walks up saying, "This morrow is a fine canvas, with the morning dew beaming down upon us. At times like this I am tranquil." And all you're thinking is, bitch, who asked? Ye's song is the type of guy who looks good, smells good, dresses good, yet is still wondering how he has no bitches, which we don't exactly need to be Sherlock to sleuth out the answer for that one. But the thing is, I doubt Ye's song knows that people hate the way he speaks. To this motherfucker, being the medieval Slim Shady is normal to him. Because of that, I view his mental state to be in more disarray than those he speaks to. Though thankfully to our knowledge, he isn't a serial killer or anything like that. Which I'm glad for, because if this bitch wrote some Jack the Ripper style letters, then I think the police officers will hope he comes for them next. So he's a B tier, speaks like a failed lobotomy patient, but he isn't overtly violent. Now the next is what I dub to be the average white boy, Faust. Once he was a wonderful doctor, then decided to switch sides to bump up his KD. Straight up runs off of 50% heroin, 30% meth, and 100% alcohol. But I still simp for him. Oh wait, You're telling me I got the wrong Faust? Oh shit, that was a Strive one. But okay, time to talk about my religion, a Faust. Now picture this. You're on a bus. 13 absolute maniacs surround you. Murder is normal, team killing is the goal, and for whatever reason we conscripted 2 child soldiers. That's right, you're on the Limbusi, but within this shit stain of a company there is Faust. The only reasonable person who has not spent half of their existence on a goddamn boat. They come in like a song of hope. Sure, on one hand her speech may make you fully understand the reason as to why you failed high school, but on the other hand, I really like her personality. In a bus filled with society's worst degenerates, people showing why nuclear war may be a good option, Faust comes in and holds it all together. You may call me a simp, a fedora-wearing neck-bearded champion of masturbation, but I don't give a fuck. She is D tier, the most reasonable person on the battle bus. Now like Icarus, we reached the top, a time to go plunging down to humanity's biggest regret, Dawn. It truly must say something that in a world filled with the head, Argalia's failed band club, human meatballs with a shit emoji pasted on their back, and whatever in the hell a Meongus is, the thing that terrifies me the most is a motherfucker that looks like Sinclair if he had a smidge more soy milk in his diet. If Dawn was given a Super Smash Bros. Trailer where she will be introduced, there is no way in hell she would be named anything other than the embodiment of humanity's stupidity. Not regret, remorse, or guilt. Nah, every stupid ass thing she does is achieved with her cutting board held high. I once heard that you could see the soul of someone through their eyes, and after seeing Dawn's cardboard cutout ass stare, I'm beginning to believe it. Think about it like this. Dawn looks to kill all the evildoers. The only thing is that she lives in a city where 6 billion people are evil. She's looking to set the Guinness World Record for a serial killer, all in the name of justice. She's on that shit America says before raiding a country for oil. Dog, she's Frank Castle but nowhere near as hot as him. Dawn is 4'10" yet stares down at everyone in a competition of insanity. The psychopath checklist needed to be re-evaluated after Dawn was born. And for that she is easily in the Dawn tier, nobody could reach her. The only thing crazier than her is her simps. Thankfully though, the police are about to catch them all as they go out to get cupcakes. I really need to stop doing a line before writing the scripts. The next is Ryoshu. Now people say to not stick your dick in crazy, and for that I agree. But I don't think Ryoshu would give you a choice. I'm pretty sure she just cut it off and make an abbreviation called LIMP. Most people watch Sinclair get bludgeoned by a baseball bat and think themselves to be sadists, but in reality that shit was just mad funny. The femboy got floored like it was a preview to chapter 3. But Ryoshu is one of those old-time sadists, the type to view the French Revolution as an orgy. Not only does she find joy in killing, but she finds joy in shit-talking the dead. She's basically a Twitter user but actually knows how to fight. If you ask her what the highlight of Lobotomy Corporation was, she'd say day 49 before you could finish. She's basically Vina's protege. Ryoshu simps should know that choosing that path cuts your life expectancy by 90%, but honestly, I doubt they care. They're like Superman but with an M across their chest. Unlike Dawn, she doesn't plan to murder 6 billion people for justice. She just plans to do it for fun. Therefore she's easily S tier, and you simps better start writing your epitaphs as y'all will be in the mortuary soon. Now time for the human chameleon, Mersalt. You've heard of chaotic evil or good, but this man is neutrally neutral. Like on one hand he joined a group of genocidal maniacs, but on the other hand he quit because he didn't give a shit about their ideology. Man's just probably wanted a job. The genocide really didn't bother him all that much. Like, I'm willing to bet all 3 inches of my dick that this man listens to absolute silence. His ideal living quarters is a padded cell. His drinks include water. And he eats nothing but the dry shit the fictional people in the fairy tales, also known as the British, eat. Even though he has salt in his name, I guarantee that he never puts salt or pepper onto anything he has eaten. The fact that the sky and the sun are 2 different colors definitely offends this man. This bitch is against PDE, public display of emotions. He's the only motherfucker who could say he'll fist the enemies, and yet you can barely crack a smile at that because you know he means it in the most literal way possible. I can't call him insane as that's too egregiously outgoing for him, but at the same time I can't call him normal because the majority of people out there aren't fucking catatonic. Therefore he's in the middle, B tier. The human stasis, Mersalt. Next is the golden retriever of the group, Hong Lu. Somehow, even with all the rich-ass private schooling, he's still a dumbass. There may be times where he wonders why you take the bus, why you hold on to food stamps, or why you can't buy him thigh-high socks. Okay, my own fantasies may have slipped in there at the end. But he isn't being mean, he just had the unfortunate process of having his IQ divided by his wealth. Hong Lu will never mean to offend anyone, mainly because I doubt he fully understands the meaning of that word. Listen, he's a good noodle, but unfortunately, his brain isn't comprised of the most noodles. You feel me? Because of that, I don't think he's crazy, as anything bad he does is just uninformed. Like, imagine this. A literal child goes into a car. He starts driving, but since he has no clue what to do, he accidentally causes a crash. Like, can you fully blame the child for that? Okay, yeah, maybe that was a bad example. But still, Hong Lu has done nothing wrong other than make me question my sexuality with his bondage ego. Therefore, he's in D tier, a completely reasonable dumbass. Okay, now we're moving on to a completely violent dumbass, Heathcliff. At the very least, Ryoshu derives pleasure from murder. I think Heathcliff just gains satisfaction from it, which is arguably worse. At any moment, he is ready to smack the shit out of anyone, namely Sinclair, with his edgelord baseball bat with revenge scratched into it. Motherfucker's built like a high school bully, yet has the arsenal of the emo kid wishing he had a death note. Now, I was reading up in his biography, and this line spoke to me. His thoughts and feelings are blatantly visible in his demeanor. So that means not only does he walk around like some unga bunga gorilla, but on the inside he's a goddamn gorilla. All I'm saying is that Heathcliff starts making a whole lot more sense when you come to the realization that the inside of his head is just Harambe dragging the child on repeat. Except he's Harambe and the child is Sinclair. I don't know if you've heard the fable of 2 wolves being inside you. One is evil, the other is good. Heathcliff's version of that is 2 giraffes inside him locked into eternal combat. All of the other sinners' base ego have something complicated going on for them. There's the swordplay of Ryoshu, the drug cocktail of Gregor's arm, and then there's Heathcliff saying bag, and there is nothing more fitting for him. Now, for all the shit I give him, he does have times of improvement. Like how he stated he only uses slurs against Dante, he doesn't truly mean them. Therefore, he's rank S- to A+, because of the development he's gotten. Start of the game, he would have been holding hands with the sadist, however, he's on the path to improvement. But he does still terrify Sinclair because of the whole home run incident. The next is Fishmael. I know it's Ishmael, but this is just funny to my coke-filled brain. So Fishmeal is what I dubbed to be the blandest character in this game. Because of that fact, I decided to read her original book so I had some shit to talk somewhere. But the thing is, she's based off of fucking Moby Dick, which A, I originally thought it was named after the world's biggest dildo, turns out it's the other way around. And B, that shit has 378 pages. Dog, I play Limbus Company. To me, reading a YouTube comment requires the same mental strength it took to make the theory of relativity. Where in the sweet Kentucky fuck can anyone imagine me reading, let alone 378, pages of a fucking whale? There's a reason I don't go to America often. I don't give that much of a shit about whales. But when it comes to a Sharmila, the only thing I have to say is that dishes isn't crazy. Which really says something if spending half of your existence on a boat is better for your mental state than living in the city. I mean, deadass, the identity Israel has in which she spends her life in the city literally fucking team kills. Living in the city factually makes a bitch crazy. But her base identity is a perfectly reasonable, blank wall, generic, cardboard cutout, personality as spicy as a fucking talk show host, forgettable background, NPC vibes type beat. Honestly, if I keep talking this shit, Igloo fans may just harpoon me. But since her base identity is pretty damn reasonable, she's a D tier. Okay, so next is Roydion the Gambler, and I'll try my best not to project about my gambling addiction. Okay, so to start off, I know she gambles, but honestly, is that really a bad thing? I mean, okay, pull up the calculations, come into Cola Tester real quick. If time equals money, then the more time it takes you to produce that cheddar means more money you are losing. $20 for 1 hour of work is more efficient than spending 3 hours of work to get 50. Therefore, the math leads us to admit that gambling is goated with the sauce. Because one game of poker doesn't take that long, and because I always go all in, well, my profits are huge. And yes, I don't acknowledge my losses. But I just had to set that straight for anyone thinking what I had was a problem. It's not. It's called a solution to my problems. Oh, and because it also relates to Roydion being a gambler and all that. But when we look at her mental state outside of the reasonable gambling, she did kind of go Kratos on a motherfucker in the past. And she did say it was for a good reason, but at the same time, Virgilius said we were gathered together for a good reason. What I'm trying to say is people lie. Veggie just needed 11 expendable people. Yes, only 11, Faust ain't on that list. The main reason she went Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter against that old bitch is because she wanted to feel special, which maybe isn't the greatest reason for murder. Murder which also had the fun added effect of wiping thousands of people out overnight. But on the other hand, she does have good social etiquette, which is something we can't say for the other crazies at the top of the list. So this may be controversial, but I'ma put her an A- as murder may not be uncommon in the city, but I can't exactly call it perfectly normal either. Next is the tiny femboy, Sinclair. Now I know in chapter 3 Sinclair kinda went gorillas bananas against some bitches, but that shit was deserved. Bro, in that chapter he single-handedly became everything Dawn wishes she could be. So yes, he may have turned people into puddles, de-atomized them, de-gloved them, turned them into paste, turned them into a gaseous state of matter, put their bodies in such a way to where loved ones may never recognize them again, and may have done whatever fucked up shit censor does to its victims, but them bitches deserved it. All I'm saying is he has insane mental fortitude to go through his One Piece flashback and only give off a smidge of Jeffrey Dahmer vibes. So yes, while he may have violated the Geneva Convention inside of that basement, he was still bussin' in that mariachi getup. And he deadass has guilt for what he did in the past, which is far and above anyone the fuck else in the city. Them bitches rarely have self-reflection. So I put him in C tier. He's mostly good, but there are some hints here and there of what could have been. Next is Wheatus, and a little confession. For the longest time, I thought her name was pronounced Wheatus, but apparently it's Ootis. And in response to understanding that fact, I will not change my ways in the slightest because I find Wheatus funny as hell to say. You can't change a man who won't admit he has a problem. I'm like the ultimate form of an alcoholic. So imagine this, right? Wheatus is playing on the Wii U, going up against you in Mario Kart. During the match, she's complimenting you for being in first and shit, and right before you win, she weeps a blue shell at you. That's what I'm thinking about when it comes to her. She's definitely buttering up the manager to eventually betray us. But the thing is, she's yet to do it, so I can't talk that much shit. This is like being Hitler's fucking art teacher. You just know something ain't right with that boy, but you lack the evidence to call it out. Will she betray us in the future? It's incredibly likely. Has she done it now? Fuck no. I can only judge her based on the slight look of psychopath she puts out every now and then, and the fact that I have never once trusted her. So I gotta put her in low B tier, although I genuinely believe when her chapter rolls around she'll be swimming with Ryoshu. Now it's time for Gregor. So on the surface he looks calm, but when he's just chilling his roach arm may spaz out and go to kill some people. All I'm saying is I read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and some of this shit be looking a little too familiar. Now Gregor himself is pretty chill, but I feel as though if he walks through the Apple section of Walmart he may very well start building a fort in his backyard. And it might be a little out there, a little traveling through space, a little walking on a different planet if a Granny Smith apple can make you lose your shit. Now I don't mean to be racist against bug people, as I mean, they got enough to deal with. But, and please don't cancel me for saying this, if your cockroach arm has sentience pointed towards murder, you may not be the safest person in society. However, I won't judge a man solely by his sentient bug arm, especially because Gregor's pretty cool. So he's C tier, and if any of you Gregor Sims come after me, bitch I got raid, so you best be running. So as a quick little bonus round, we got the Minecraft block of Veggie. Now he has tortured the sinners a lot, but at the same time they deserve it. As far as I'm concerned, he hasn't shit-talked Faust, so I don't give a fuck. But at the same time, murdering someone with the look on his face being the same face I have whilst watching YouTube videos made for children, it maybe ain't the sanest thing. So I'd place him in A tier because unlike Ryoshu, he murders for good reason. But at the same time, he murders like a lot more. Now there is no way in hell I'd make fun of Charon, mainly because I'm pretty sure the fan base would smite me like Zeus. So she's in the Charon tier. And Dante is what I view to be a normal person. He hasn't done anything insane, had a little stint with gambling, but who can say they haven't, am I right? So he's in D tier, which is where I put a reasonable, normal person. Which means yes, anyone north of D tier I view to be either slightly insane like Sinclair, or, well, the demon that is Dawn. But that's it for the tier list, so if you don't mind me, I'm gonna spend the rest of my day refreshing and hentai as I look for someone to upload something of Faust.